Ohio approved and licensed for disposal, at Ron Evans Enterprises, they specialize in sewage system installation and repair. Ron Evans has a full line of flex pipe, culverts, concrete and plastic septic tanks, sewer fittings, waterline rolls for the Home American water heaters, along with toilets, standard and ADA. It's all at Ron Evans Enterprise, LLC. Give them a call today at 1-800-537-9528 or 740-286-5930.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
Total Media is doing an Easter prize pack giveaway, and all you have to do to enter is find our post on Facebook or any of our Total Media platforms and follow the instructions. Once you're entered, you can win a $50 Stockroom 601 gift card, 2 movie tickets to Tri-City Theater, a 3-month online subscription to the Telegram, 2 Total Media t-shirts from Zip Printing Signs and Marketing, 2 Total Media radio keychains, and an Easter basket filled with some candy-filled Easter eggs. It's free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and the contest is open to first-time new subscribers. The winner of the prize pack will be announced on Easter Sunday. Good luck!
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where we have a state champion in the house and our coach.
Who's that?
You.
Oh.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
No, we are so happy to have McKenna Craft here in the house today, and we are just so proud of you. So welcome.
Thank you.
Are you still walking on air, or have you come back down to earth yet?
I didn't come back down to earth.
Okay. Probably coach doesn't let you have a big head too long, huh? No, this is so cool. So, so McKenna here, unless you've been under a rock, you probably know that she is now the 3-time state champion in girls wrestling. And what is your weight division there?
I'm at 100 pounds.
Oh, I think I was there in 4th grade. Anyway, but no, and your coach, we made Coach come on the air today, so welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So happy to be here. No, so Brandon, Coach Brandon Oliver here. So you two have been together for quite some time. When did you start wrestling?
I started wrestling when I was 4 years old.
When you were 4,
yeah.
And I'm guessing brothers had something to do with that.
Yeah, my older brothers wrestled, so I kind of was just always around it.
So did you know that was like something you wanted to do? Like did you watch them and be like, I can do that too?
Honestly, I just think that like where they were wrestling, I was always like dragged to the practices and everything. So I was just like, whatever, if I'm going to be there, might as well be doing it. And I was so young, I don't really remember exactly what was happening.
Well, how does a 4-year-old start wrestling?
I don't really know. I just, I'll go back and I see videos of baby me wrestling and pictures, so.
Well, I could see that. So, Brandon, when did you are the coach of, is it all of wrestling? Like, tell us about what you do. I mean, and let me just preface this by saying he has like a day job and then does all of this too. So
Yeah, it's like having 2 jobs, really. So I run the varsity. It used to be just the boys, the varsity boys and the junior high boys, and then we got a little crazy and started girls programs, and then I run the varsity boys, the varsity girls, the junior high boys, and the junior high girls. And I have someone.
Are you
Walter,
nuts?
Yeah. I have Walter Miller, who does a lot of the Pee Wee stuff for me, and some other assistant coaches down there, but I do all the paperwork and all the administrative stuff for that too. So it never ends. Like it never ends.
Yeah. And wrestling is technically a winter sport, right? But it never
It's
ends.
only a winter sport if you want to just have a good time. But I've never got beat up and had a good time. So I would go with it's probably all year round.
Gotcha. So not only are you wrestling, I don't know why I keep saying wrestling at in the high school part, but you go out and about and do other things too. Am I right about that?
Yeah. So over the summer, I like to travel and do a lot of like summer wrestling outside of school.
Okay, so you can do this year round if you
Yeah,
want.
absolutely.
But aren't you a cheerleader too?
I cheered this year for the first time ever, but yeah.
How did you do all of that?
Well, I wasn't wrestling because I just had shoulder surgery.
Oh,
So I
okay.
couldn't really do much. So I was cheering.
So just something for you to be able to do, and you could stay in shape and all that while you were
More for the experience.
Yeah.
And so why not? So we tried it out this year.
How'd that go? You like it?
It was super fun, yeah.
It's kind of funny considering the fact that most people are cheering for you.
It was different, but it was super fun.
Good deal. So, Coach, tell us, how has wrestling evolved over the past years? Because I feel like not only has the boys program obviously evolved, but this girls program is relatively new. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I would say girls is relatively new in this area. I wouldn't say that it's as relatively new all over the country as much. It just is relatively new here.
Oh, okay.
So we're getting a little bit late start, but we do have a lot of girls who are literally doing what it takes to be good. So, I mean, we're getting going. We're in the right direction. We had girls wrestle yesterday in the junior high state tournament, so that was good. And they practice more than I want to practice. So we're getting started.
Well, there has to be some differences between coaching girls and boys. I mean,
Well, yes and no. And I'll say this: a lot of people may or may not agree with this, but I treat my girls just like I treat my boys. Like I don't say nothing to my girls or my boys that I won't say to my girls, and I don't take it any easier on my girls. Now, the biggest difference is how you treat them off the mat. Like they need a lot more babying and a lot more attention, and they're very
we're a
expensive.
little more sensitive.
Oh yes.
Oh, and yes, and we
Women
are more
are very
expensive.
expensive. My boys, when they leave, I don't see them. I don't hear from them. Like they come back the next day. I leave my wrestling room, my phone is blowing up. I mean, and the girls want to talk and they want to know what we're doing and when can we go to dinner and when can we do this fun and I need these new shoes and I'd like to have this new singlet and I'd like to, yeah. So that's the biggest difference. But as far as like training them, I have no differences there. If you can teach a woman to wrestle like a man, they will win, and that's the biggest piece. And I'll always do that. The meanest girl will win. I promise you.
And girls can be mean.
Not all of them. They'll fold. That's what makes it good. That's what makes Southern Ohio wrestling so good. Is the farm girls is just a little bit meaner, and that's a big piece of it.
It's because we grew up having to bale hay and stuff.
That's it. And listen, she got to wrestle, was supposed to wrestle someone in a state tournament that was undefeated, and it was like, hey, it's going to be a really good match. And the girl unfortunately didn't make it to the finals matchup that everyone was hoping for. And the guy said, he was just honest. He said, I thought we was a little bit better than what we were. He said, number one. He said, and number two, like Southern Ohio girls are mean. He said, we don't see that stuff in the North like that. So I think that's a big piece of it.
No, I think there is something to that. And I think, in other sports as well, the Midwest, I think that we are kind of, we've been out there and we've worked hard, just in life in general.
Yeah.
So not a bunch of wussies, right? So, okay, let's tell everybody, McKenna, I mean, you are a 3-time state champion and I just don't see anyone coming near you much. And there are different weight classes. So there are state champions in different weight classes as well, but you're in the 100-pound weight class. She's so just tiny, but mean. But tell me, like, what's your day-to-day, like, what do you do? Like, what's your training schedule like?
Like during season?
Yeah.
Well,
What's coach make you do? And then what do you do on your own?
well, before state, we do a lot. And so, like, for like a month before state, we had 2-a-days. So we were going in the morning, we'd practice before school, and then after school. And then Brandon would normally have us running a lot.
We ran 10 miles one day, and then we have 5 the next week. Like it was a good bit in a day.
Yes.
So when you're practicing, what do you guys lift? What does the practice look like?
So the week before state, we did a lot of just perfecting things, not learning things, but more perfecting things, and then a lot of cardio. So we'd perfect things, go cardio, and then after school we normally just brawled and then ran.
Okay. And I mean, because I have to think that, you typically pin people, don't you?
I try.
Yeah. So, and if a wrestling match goes the entire time, how long would it be?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. So, in those 6 minutes, that can be pretty physically exhausting, I would say.
Very.
Yeah, I would think so too. Well, Brandon here has kind of put his money where his mouth is, though, and you've actually been out running and stuff too, haven't you?
Yeah, I run a lot.
He's been getting in shape. I see him running past the old 6 Cents Brewing all the time. And when I point and giggle at him, he doesn't know it, but I'm like, oh, there's Brandon again.
It's been a lot of running. It's been good for both of us because I won't say that there's nobody in the room good enough to give her a look that we need, but there's no one in the room good enough to give her the look we need. So really, we get after it. We beat each other pretty good. She 10 days I had a solid black eye. So
that's awesome.
she got introduced to Kelly Roush last year when I knocked her on her head.
Yes.
And that's kind of how we got started going there because I beat her up pretty good. So it's honestly it's all fun and face right now, but when we shut the door, we go at it. We will hit each other, we'll smack each other. It's full bore.
That's awesome. And so, you've actually wrestled a lot of boys though, right?
Yeah. I've grown up wrestling boys, which is kind of I think it was very beneficial, but I grew up wrestling guys. And then so during the season I still wrestle guys during season, and so I'll do both guys and girls tournaments. And then coming to state is when I kind of transitioned to fully girls.
Okay. So I just have this question bouncing around. Is it weird wrestling guys? Because wrestling, you're getting in there and you're touching, grabbing and touching and whatever. Is that weird?
I think it's normal. I've never really looked at it oh, it's a guy, I don't want to touch him, weird.
Oh, okay.
But I've grown up doing it.
You're it's a guy and I'm going to kick his butt.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's normal. I've kind of just grown up wrestling them, and I don't see it any different than wrestling a girl. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I want to do.
Okay. And you pretty much do. Just show him who's boss. No, that's awesome. So let's talk about how did you get to the state tournament? Tell us about your journey to get there this year.
This year started off slower than normal. I had shoulder surgery over the summer, so I wasn't cleared right away. But then
That's scary. Were you oh no?
no, I didn't really. I wasn't too worried about it, just because I had a good team of people behind me supporting me.
Good.
With getting me back to normal, and I had Brandon helping me get back to weight.
Yeah, that was part of the weight process.
Yes.
People was highly offended. I'll say it again just because it riles them up. She was a chunky monkey in the summer.
Oh, yeah, what, 102 pounds instead of 100 or what?
It was 107, 108.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, if I lose this weight, I'll lose 40, but you got to get it off. And that was kind of the deal we made, and it just kept going.
And so at first I was crippled, so I couldn't do anything. And so
Because shoulder surgery is rough. I don't think a lot of people understand how hard it is.
yes, so it was a very slow start.
And a lot of eating.
And a lot of eating and not a lot of exercise. And so that was kind of, but then once I started wrestling again, all the weight just came off and I was back to normal. And so I had a pretty good season coming up to it. I wrestled a boys tournament that was pretty big.
Was that the one in West Virginia?
Yeah. So that was a pretty big tournament, which was pretty fun to do. And then we had sectionals, districts, and then state.
Okay. And then are there any girls out there that you're like, oh man, I hope I don't draw her, or you just like bring it on?
I love it.
Just bring it on.
Yeah. There's never been a girl I was like, oh, I don't want to wrestle her. Because if they're better, like, even if I do lose, it's only going to help me get better. So.
Very wise.
You don't get better by wrestling average kids.
No, you're right.
I mean, the goal, I tell her, my goal is for you to, especially this summer, like, I want you to lose. I'm going to take you to try to get you beat, and that's what happens.
My 8th grade year, which was my first year wrestling for Brandon, we went to this tournament, and he was like, you have to make this weight, because it wasn't the weight class I normally wrestled. He was like, you're making this weight, and we're wrestling here. And I was like, why does he want me to just randomly make this weight? Well, we get to the tournament, and I look at the bracket, and I'm like, okay, I see why he wanted me to make this weight. There's a kid, and he was, like, ranked first in the state, and Brandon's like, I hope you lose. Like, I'm putting you out here. I made you cut this weight for you to lose. He was like, I hope you get your butt whipped. And then I ended up winning, and I still brag in Brandon's face about it.
Yeah, he's a multiple-time state champion. The goal was to get whooped, and it just didn't work out.
Kind of talk about your all-time backfire, Coach.
I mean, I have more than one of them. I've taken her several places to get beat up, and it usually doesn't work, but I'm going to keep trying.
And that was very funny because he's like, you're going to lose this match. And I was like, watch.
The whole gym was like,
It
she's going to get
crazy.
killed. And then she won, and the place erupted.
That's
very funny.
awesome.
Yep.
So did you pin him?
No, it was like a 1-point match.
Oh.
Like, it was a super, like, we were going at it for the full 6 minutes. No, like, it was go, go, go. Full
That's
6 minutes.
crazy. Good for you.
Yep.
And Coach is like, man.
Well,
now
it's
what
one
am
of
I
those
gonna do with
things.
this girl.
I think, I mean, I talk a lot, and I put them in a lot of situations, and I try to get them beat, but I actually want them to win, but if I can get them, beat them, and get better.
Yeah.
So we got better that day,
We
and
got a
that
lot
was the
better.
goal.
Yep.
Yeah. So how did you two like first meet? And you said like in your 8th grade. So when did Jackson start a girls program? Was it because of McKenna? You're like, I have this girl here. I don't know what to do with her.
I have
or
had another girl at one time named Kendra Thompson that kind of started for me.
yeah.
She's a 4-time All-American in college, just graduated from Campbellsville University.
Awesome.
She won a state title back when it wasn't as good, as important but she always wrestled boys. That's all she knew. She won a match in a district tournament, which for a girl at 160 pounds at the time, that's a lot. Like it takes a lot to win in the boys division at 160 pounds. So it kind of started there, and it kind of, when, again, girls wrestling's big other places, it just wasn't big here. So when they saw her do good at the district, they're like, hey, listen, we should try to get her to wrestle at a national level. And I knew nothing about freestyle because that's what they wrestle. It's not the same as folk style, which we wrestle in high school.
Wait, okay, back up.
I just blowed your mind. I
Yeah,
know.
it blew my mind. Just okay, back up. Explain that for a minute.
I'm not going to probably be explaining anything. I'm going to let her do the explaining because I don't wrestle freestyle. I know how it is. I like to watch it, but I'm not very good at it. If they would ever go freestyle wrestling in high school, it would be a problem for me. So
I doubt that.
It would. It 100% would. Like it's the same concept but different tricks. So
Okay.
basically, like how you're eventually we'll see a video where she's pinning people. You can pin them, but that's not like
It's not so much the
control
goal.
aspect
Yeah.
of it. Like you're not controlling someone in freestyle as much as you are in folk style, which is high school wrestling or college wrestling boys. Like it's just I probably don't have enough time to explain it on
Is
the
it more like fundamentals with the
No?
No.
Okay.
It's more of like don't get exposed. It's more about exposure to your back than it is like because if I'm wrestling folk style, like I'm gonna try and roll you, I'm gonna like try and roll out of positions, I'm gonna keep moving. But in freestyle, it's more about just not exposing your back, and also not like folk style. There's a lot more scrambles. I don't know if you know what a scramble is, but it's like one person's on top, the other rolls. It's crazy. But in freestyle, it's more like throws. You get like.
We'll show you
suplex.
if you want to be the dummy.
I'm good. I'm not getting anywhere near this child. Are you kidding me? Okay, so there's different styles of wrestling. then.
Yes. So with girls nationally, like if you go international, national, college, it's all freestyle. And that's what like Olympic stages, the world stage, all of that is freestyle. But for boys, you have folk style, freestyle, and Greco.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, but so that's kind of how I got started was with Kendra, and then I met people from the girls' teams, and then she did really well even at the national level. She All-American, and then she went to college, and she was coming in at that time, and I really didn't know like a lot about it. I was very naive to girls wrestling. Like I didn't really understand. I thought it was weird at first. I'm like, this is kind of weird like that.
I mean, I think because anything new like that is a little bit.
It was very because I thought like it would be. I can remember sitting in on college practices, and I thought it would be like where they just be like tap each other or touch each other, and like
Oh heck no! Do you not been around girls very long?
not like that. And it was just like
Girls are
boys.
mean.
Yeah, it was just like boys, and now don't even think about it twice really.
Yeah.
So and then
I think
she
girls
came
are
along.
more expensive.
They're very expensive.
And Brandon doesn't just have girls; he has princesses.
I do. We have a lot of rules on that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Everyone wants to look pretty. Every girl wants to look pretty. They want to feel pretty. They want to feel wanted, and then that's kind of what we do in our program. So, it takes a lot of money to do that kind of stuff, and I think that's why our numbers is so good. Because I won't say once a girl wrestles, like they get addicted. I don't know one that's like I really hate this. I don't want to do it anymore. But it's getting them to that point. So I basically bring them in, and they have a good time, and then they get addicted.
There you go. It's like drugs. It's like a drug. Wrestling. So you've been like actually competing through school and stuff. What grade would that have been?
I didn't really start wrestling for like a school team until 8th grade. It was the first year I kind of wrestled like for a school.
And do you think, McKenna, I mean, you are, whether you like it or not, a role model for, younger girls and boys even, you know what I mean? And I mean, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders. But do you think that, I'll bet you'll have a lot of girls join the wrestling team just because they want to be like you. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just now kind of like getting used to it. At first I was like, why? Like, that's kind of weird. But I'm just now kind of facing it and being like, okay. Now, and like, I think it draws a lot more attention to me. And so I'm just now like getting used to like the fact that people are watching me.
Yeah.
And so,
You got to keep that in the back of your mind.
I honestly really like enjoy it. Like, because when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of girl role models. Like, I grew up watching
Sure.
the boys. And there was a lot, like, especially where I was, there wasn't very many, like, older girls. So now that I kind of can do that for younger girls and they can see, like, and especially how I cheered this year, like, girls can see, oh, look, she can be pretty and also go beat kids. So I think that was really cool.
Fat A.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think that's why I asked you about the cheerleading thing, because let's just be honest, the stereotype of what a cheerleader would be versus what a girl wrestler would not be the same kind of
Yeah.
human, and you're doing both, and I think that's really, really cool. And I thought wasn't there a match when you like competed and then you came home and went to a dance?
Yes.
It was like, that was really cool too, to get to see you like kicking
That
butt
was-
and then
That was actually my state. That was state my freshman year.
Yeah, it was.
yeah, I remember that. You
Yeah.
came home and went to like,
Sweethearts.
Sweetheart dance.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here she goes kicking butt in the state, and then she comes home and puts on a dress, and here we go. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot to carry around, I'm sure, for you. But so, how is the girls program doing? Is it like growing?
Yeah, I think that, we've kind of been planning for this for a while. I've wrote down the weight classes and the expectations for next year. We'll have that conversation tomorrow, really, of who's going to wrestle what. And I mean, we should compete, I would think, close to for a state title next year as a team. We're pretty close. These girls have been doing it a lot. They do it all the time. We should be a contender next year as a team.
That's awesome. So not only individuals, but
Yeah.
because you had another girl went to the state tournament too. We don't want to, forget about anybody that was there.
Yeah, we had Madeline Riddle. She's just a freshman. It is only her second year of wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's committed her life to it, kind of like Mac has it. She does multiple things a day, and she said she was going to win a state title, but then when you walk into the arena, it's just massive, and honestly, she just couldn't handle it.
It's a lot. I mean, and I was going to ask you about that because I feel like a lot of this comes down to mental toughness too, like, confidence and you've got to be able to like shut all that down, right? Like what's it like when you go in and there's like we were looking off the air, there was this big opening ceremonies and there was like fireworks and screaming and all that stuff. Like how do you not get distracted by all that?
With me, I was very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to travel a lot when I was younger. So I've seen the big lights, I've seen the big stages. So I was fortunate to have kind of experienced that. And like at this point, every match is the same, no matter where I'm at, no matter where I'm going in. I prepare the same way for every match, no matter where it's at. I do the same stuff. And so honestly, I love people watching me wrestle, and I like thrive off that. So as many people as watching me is like I embrace it a lot, I feel like.
That's awesome.
Instead of get scared of it. So like when I'm wrestling, watch me, I don't care. And I'm very fine with it. Like no matter
you kind of feed off of
yes,
that.
I love it.
Off that energy.
That's kind of where we're at with Madeline right now. I told her parents that like that's her first time seeing that, and to
it
wrestle
would be a shock. Like
yeah, and it's no. There's listen. I went through the same shock. I tell everybody this. I experienced the same thing in the state tournament. I beat everyone except for the top 2 people in the state, and I did what Madeline Riddle done. And it is what it is. The only difference between me and her is I was a senior and she was a freshman. So
she has time to recoup. You didn't.
Yeah, but she's gonna have to wrestle in the summer like we're talking about right now, and she's gonna have to see the big stages, and she's gonna lose again, and it's gonna happen. Like it's got to happen for her to win. So once you do it all the time, eventually it becomes normal, and you thrive on like literally. It doesn't like it's cool. You look around like that's pretty cool, but then it just becomes kind of normal.
Like that energy that like you just have to like bring that energy into yourself. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what do you do to prepare for like a match? Do you have like a song you listen to or like what do you do? Like what's it look like before a match?
Well, I
you do your nails? What do you do?
No, she beats herself.
No. So yes, she does. So I have to tell you that you have a little cheering section that you don't know about because last year I was in Columbus having dinner with my girlfriends from college the day before you wrestled for the state tournament. And I was telling them all about you and I was showing them videos and she beats the crap out of herself before that. So all night long, they were all walking around like slapping themselves and stuff. And so then I sent them like the like that you won and all that. And then so I did the same thing again this year. We weren't all together this time, but I was like, look, she did it again. So you have this like whole little cheering section of my college girlfriends that you don't even know about, but we got to laughing at you, not at you, but like with you about like the fact that you get all pumped up. So where did that come from?
Honestly, I really don't know exactly why I started it. I've done it since I was little. It's always been like what I do, and everybody has always known that. Like before I wrestle, I slap myself and I pace, and like I stare you down. So I will pace and I will look you in the eye and I will just stare you down the whole time I'm warming up. If I know who I'm wrestling and I see you, I'm gonna look you down and I'm gonna stare at you and I'm gonna hit myself. And I've done it since I was little. And I got this stare down from a wrestler named Tony Ramos who went to Iowa and then started coaching at UNC. And that's where I got the stare down from. And then I started slapping myself. And I really just don't know why or how. But if I don't do it now, you can tell that something's not going to be right. And I think wrestling is very mental. And a lot of people don't understand how mental it is. So, like, me doing what I do, it just mentally prepares me so much for like the match, and it kind of like gets all the distractions out and it focuses me. And when I go out there, like I think I could beat anyone you put out there. I think I could beat them, and I think that's a great mindset for anybody that wrestles.
Sure,
it's just like know you're gonna win.
That lack of confidence she has. No, I think that's awesome, and I think that's why you are so successful, because you're not letting anybody tell you otherwise. Yeah, I think that's how it has to be. But no, I was wondering about how much is mental and how much is physical.
It's 50-50, I would say.
I would say so too. I mean,
if
that's
you
what I would
smack
guess.
someone real hard, I don't know if you've noticed, but she smacks a lot of people in
She
the
does
face.
smack a lot of people in the face.
How do you like to get
Are
smacked
you
in the
allowed
face?
to do that?
No.
No. But what does it do to your mental aspect
It-
when someone smacks you in the
It's
face?
like it brings you down.
Yeah, so the
She's just playing
physical
with
became part of the mental. So they go hand in hand. If someone puts you on your face, you're like, oh, that I didn't like that. Like you dropped a level. So they go hand, like it's 50-50 for sure.
Yeah, wrestling this little girl here is you're a little turd, aren't you?
Maybe.
You didn't learn that from your coach, did you?
Never.
I think that, as she told you earlier, wrestling boys, and nobody in the girls' community wants to hear this, wrestling boys is everything, because when they learn to scrap with boys and they wrestle girls, girls don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
So and girls that wrestle boys don't want to be treated like girls. They want to be treated like boys. Like
Equals.
yes, you can smack a girl in the face. It's fine. Like it's completely fine. If they punch you, punch them back.
Yeah.
Like that's what they want.
Yeah.
And the good boys will. They know better than to not do that. So I think that when you do that, the physical side comes from the boys. You bring it over to the girls. You do the same thing to the girls, and they're like bobbing and weaving, trying not to get smacked in the face and punched in the head. Next thing you know, their mental aspect has fallen down.
Yep.
And then girls mentally break. Like I can tell you during Madeline Riddle's matches in the district tournament, you can literally watch it. 2 girls literally broke in the 3rd period, and that was it. I mean, and that all came from, I think, just the physical side of getting beat up by boys.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I mean, that's
So in your practices at Jackson, and I know there's, wrestling, girls wrestling for sure is up and coming and whatever, even in our area. Do other schools have girls wrestling teams around here?
I think around here, a lot of schools have a couple girls.
Okay.
We're definitely the biggest right now, the biggest program, and we're still growing. I think a lot of schools are growing, but they just don't have the numbers that we have right now.
Well,
yeah.
Again, I think, this little lady sitting right here is going to be a great influencer in girls coming up and learning the sport of wrestling. I think that would be awesome.
I think a big part of it too is Brandon, the way that he handles, like he gets them, and like he treats them, like he treats us all the same. Like in the practice room, like a lot of coaches are scared of the girls and won't wrestle them and like just kind of stay away from them and don't do anything the same. Like they'll go beat up on the boys, but then they'll just like look at the girls and be like, okay guys, do what you want. And they don't have rules, and they don't, like with Brandon though, we're all treated the same. But then like me and Brandon will go at it and we will brawl for a while, and he'll do that with all the girls. And so it's not really like, oh, you're a girl, you're not going to get treated the same. But also like we get dinners, we get to dress up, we have the playtime, and we get to go beat each other up. So I think that's a big aspect. And once you get a certain amount of girls, like they get their friends, and it's just gonna keep going.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right on that. So in practices, you guys are wrestling boys and all that too?
Yeah, that's the goal.
How do the boys feel about that?
Well, I'm listen. I run a very strict program, and I
Yes, you
literally
do.
bring the parents in, and I tell them what's going to happen. First off, you're going to wrestle them, and I want you to beat them up. Like you beat them girls up. That's what I want you to do. Now, do not slam them on their head. Don't do that. Like don't
Right.
hurt them intentionally.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, I'm going to find someone to hurt you. Like that's what's going to happen. I'm not joking. Like I don't let them do it. But that's with any of them. If a girl, we don't bully each other. There is none of that. If you bully someone, I'm going to find someone to bully you.
Yeah.
He's not lying.
And that's how it works. And if they can't do it, I will. So that only has to happen like literally the first 2 weeks. And after that, everyone has the same respect for everyone.
Everybody
and
gets
everyone,
in line real
yes,
quick. Huh?
There's a pecking order, and they all know what it is. And some people is going to watch this film and be like, that guy has got some issues right now.
No, I don't think so. I
but
think you run a great program.
It's the way that it really is everyone has to be equal, and everyone has to treat everyone the same. Money doesn't matter. I don't care how much money you have. That's what makes wrestling great. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor, you're pretty, you're ugly, you're small, you're big, you have short hair, you have long hair. We're all the same because you can all get smashed in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And nothing in society that people want to portray, and no offense to football, basketball, soccer, all those sports, your name don't matter to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't determine who starts. If she loses in a wrestle off, unfortunately for Jackson High School, I'm not going to be like, oh, she's the best girl. She would win 10 out of 10 times. Well, guess what? She lost today. So she's not the starter. It happens.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest piece that I think has helped my program is that everybody is the same. I don't care what your name is or how much money you have. This is what the rules are, and we're going to play by them. I mean, I've kicked her out of the room on more than one occasion.
He's not wrong. He's
And-
not lying.
What would you do?
That mouth.
It's happened. I think it's
Any good coach and wrestler combo it can really go at it
I can
because
see that.
yes.
um,
Me and Brandon think a lot alike, so we butt heads like no other.
Well, the funny thing, the very thing that makes you good at what you're doing also can kind of backfire on you with
Yes.
that.
it does, and that's going to
the
happen
attitudes
anywhere.
And the confidence and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Oh yeah, because she'll look at you and tell you you're wrong, and I'll tell her she's wrong. And usually it's not that she's wrong. Like we were working something the other day, and she was 100% right about like what should happen. So when you wrestle with good kids won't do this, but we don't always wrestle good kids. So we're working on something that might happen, and I'm like, hey, we need to do this. And she's like, no, that's not going to work. Good kids aren't going to do that. And I'm like, okay, Mac. Well, nope, not doing that.
I did it eventually.
She did do it eventually. And it wasn't wrong. It was the right answer.
Yeah.
At her level, it's the right answer. But at the other levels, it's not what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do. So
I get it.
that kind of stuff happens.
Yes. We argue sometimes, but like we argue about wrestling. So
It's always wrestling, yeah.
It's always like very, because we think a lot alike. So we butt heads like bad.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
It's all pretty on the camera though.
It is. It is.
But we also get along very well.
Yeah.
So we could talk for hours about one like wrestling thing. So it's very beneficial.
Yep, it works perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I would have to think that there's, all of that matters to your success, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Having a really, really cool coach. Are you getting made fun of over there?
Well, I have another job.
Oh,
Right now I'm on time off, but they don't really care that I'm on time off.
They're still. Yes. Well, we won't talk about your other job.
I'm just a plumber, man.
Plumber. He's just a plumber. So no, he's not really. So okay, let's walk through the state tournament because I think that this is really cool. So you go up to Columbus and you're wrestling in the state tournament. So how many how did you get to the final match?
Like you want a whole rundown of all weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, so we left Thursday.
Yep.
We left Thursday and we got to practice in Ohio State's wrestling room, which was really cool.
I was gonna say that would be just cool just to be there.
So we got to practice in their facility, and so we got a really good workout in there. And all three of us were way underweight after that practice, and we just brawled basically for how long were we there?
Until they kicked us out, which was about an hour and a half.
We were the last
Wow.
people in there, and
Awesome.
security kicked us out.
They did. I said 15 more minutes. We got to do some running. He said, no, you're leaving.
Yeah, Brandon was like, "Can we do sprints?" And the security guy said no, and me, Madeline, and Braden were very excited.
Yes. Except for
They were
me.
like, thank God, saved by the security
we were
guard.
not
Yes.
done.
And so that was Thursday night. Friday we woke up. Brandon had us up at 7:30 in the morning to run the hotel hallways. We got like 2 miles
I'm
in.
sure the other guests were super happy about that.
They were
Yep.
not.
We
Not.
were all at least 2 pounds underweight, and Brandon still had us running the hotel hallways. And
So does that matter? Like you're 2 pounds underweight. Do you have to make a certain weight?
as long as you're underweight, you're good to go. So you just can't be over. Like you
You
can't
can't be
even
overweight.
You can't even be like 0.1 over, or you aren't wrestling. Some people learned that the hard way this year at state.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some of the best kids didn't get a wrestle this year because they were like 0.1 over.
Yep.
But that's one problem with the women's wrestling.
Yeah, it is.
They're
Well,
very
Listen, as girls, our weight does fluctuate
well.
because
if you're gonna
of
do wrestling and you want to be like the boys, you better make weight just like the boys.
I agree. Listen, I don't care. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to sound terrible. I'm sorry, TV. I don't care about your women issues. I don't care. It's wrestling. Like,
Yeah, no.
we've never had a problem.
It's very manageable. Like
She knows what the
with
rules
a
are.
woman,
Yeah.
like your weight can fluctuate, but if you know like what you're doing, it's so easy to track and maintain.
They know when it's going to be. You know what has to happen.
right. Right.
And it's not that
Not
they
your first
gain it;
rodeo.
it's that they hold it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make you magic. You aren't magically putting on weight. If you aren't eating and drinking, you ain't going to gain the weight.
They're going to tell you, like, girls love to be like, oh, well, I just didn't drink or eat, and like I got on it. The next thing I know, I gained 3 pounds. I'm like, no, you didn't. You're lying.
You hold it. You don't
You
gain
held
it.
Yeah.
So it's harder to lose the weight, but you aren't magically gaining the weight.
Okay.
So
You're up running the hallways.
we're up running the hallways at 7:30 in the morning.
At what hotel was it like an expensive hotel where people will be really mad at you?
Super nice hotel.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
But it's a state tournament. It's 90% wrestlers there
Okay.
anyways.
I get it.
Like if you're there, you're a wrestling fan most likely.
Okay.
And so we run the hallways. We got 3 miles in.
The first day we got 3 miles in.
3 miles in.
In the hallways of the hotel.
In the
Yes.
hallways of the
Oh
hotel.
my God, you
And
guys.
a lot of stairs and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we got a good workout in that morning. And then we had weigh-ins Friday morning. We all made weight very easily. And then my favorite thing ever, me and Brandon always go to get breakfast. So we all went and got breakfast. Me, Madeline, Braden, all of the wrestlers. To this place in Columbus. It's my favorite breakfast place ever, and it forever will be. And then
Well, where is it?
it's called Hangover Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've eaten there quite a bit.
It's my favorite breakfast place ever.
It's good, by the way.
It's very good. And they have avocado toast, which is my favorite. And it doesn't make me sick. Because a lot of times, like, I'm so anxious and ready to wrestle that if I eat, I will throw it up. So that avocado toast is one thing that I normally don't puke up. So.
There you go. Now you know. Avocado toast.
And so we did that, and then we wrestled. Braden wrestled first, and he had 2 matches that day.
Yep.
And so the girls didn't wrestle till later, so me and Madeline kind of chilled out at the hotel, got ready for the day. Then we got to the tournament. We got a good warm-up in, and then me and Madeline wrestled. I had 1 match. Madeline had 2. And then after that, where did we go that night? We just
I think we
went to the spaghetti place,
Yeah.
but it was past my bedtime.
Oh
so
yeah, she
I
just got up from the table and went home.
The food had not arrived yet, and I kind of stood up and said, "Brandon, it's nighttime." So I went back to the hotel. They all still ate. I was asleep before anybody got back.
Are you a early sleeper?
Honestly, with wrestling tournaments, I kind of take what I put in my body and how I sleep very seriously. And Brandon's kind of put me in that mindset where I should do that.
Sure.
So now I've just like, I have to do it. Or like, I have medicine I take before I fall asleep, and I take it, and I'm asleep pretty early. And I think it's really beneficial because like I get very anxious, and I always have. And so like getting my sleep and everything is very important to me.
Sure. Like I think that with that anxious and the anxiety, like routines are very
Yes.
important.
That's why we run it. People's like, why would you run your kids in the morning? Well, we have the same routine, and every
It's important.
college, especially Division I athlete, works out before. That people don't know that. They're like, why would you run your kids or why would you wrestle? Well, every Division I athlete is practicing before they wrestle. No one sees that.
Yes.
So people, not to say they're not at a high level, but people that don't do it every day are like losing their mind. Why would you run then? They're gonna get tired. I'm like, no, they're not. This is normal. This is what they know.
Last week was probably the first week for a long time that we haven't had morning practices or anything. And like last week at school, I was like, there's no, like, why am I here? Like, I was like so like not normal. Like I felt so weird, like not having to practice before.
Because you're out of your routine.
And I was like, Brandon, like I need to get back to practice. I think I'm getting depressed without wrestling. Like it was like so like my head was just weird. Like I felt not normal at all.
I could see that.
Yeah. And everybody's like, well, don't you want a break after state? Like, you've wrestled, like, all year. Like, don't you want that time off? And I'm like, no. Like, wrestling is, like, what makes me normal. Like, if I don't have it, it's, like, what is going on?
I get that. I totally get that.
And a lot of, like, the highest level wrestlers are, like, crazy. Like, you can't even talk to these people.
No, they don't have social
They
skills.
don't have, like, wrestling is everything. So, like,
really?
if you would have met me before Brandon came along, like, I didn't even have social skills.
No,
Like,
she came to my garage. That's the first time we wrestled together. It was in my garage at my house. And it was
I sat in the corner and didn't say a word to anybody, and I'd go and I'd wrestle, and then I'd sit back in the corner. Like, wrestling is a very different sport. Like, if the highest level athletes, they're crazy.
They're weird, yeah.
They're very weird. I'll admit it. Like, I'm even, like, weird. Like, my social skills still,
They're not that good.
they're not very good at all.
Well, you're doing just fine sitting here today, girlfriend. Well, hey, let's I think Dylan actually pulled up your state championship match, but I have a question for you, and I asked you this off the air, so I hope it's okay that I ask you on the air. But I was watching and I want to thank Kelly Roush for live streaming a lot of these things, and
Can I get a
because
second with that?
yeah,
Listen, we do need to thank Kelly Roush.
Yes.
If it wasn't for Kelly, I don't know where we would be. What people didn't see and don't see that happens behind the scenes is even she helped her the whole entire time, all the way through summer, all the way up with all the physical therapy and doing everything it took. She actually got hurt right before the tournament. People didn't know that. And she was at Kelly's house getting helped, getting fixed up. And then during the matches when she got Braden ready, so she did all these routines with all the kids. Every single kid she took care of the same.
yes,
And she actually didn't even come to the arena the first day. She really didn't get to see anything. All she was doing was back at the hotel just getting kids ready.
Yeah.
Like stretching them and giving them like all the treatment they need. So
sure,
honestly, most people would die to have a doctor in their corner that goes everywhere that we go.
yeah.
And it has made life way easier. We are spoiled. So we need to thank her for everything she
Thank
does
you, Kelly.
for us.
She does an amazing job.
amazing,
She's an amazing lady. So, but we want to thank her for she also live streamed some of the matches, which is really, really cool. But so I was watching the match before your championship match, and you, which is kind of an oddity for you, did not pin that girl. You won 2-1, which is very unlike you. So I was like, why? So to me, I heard that and I'm like, why? So I'm watching the match, and and I could be completely wrong because I don't know really anything about wrestling, but it seemed like the girl would not engage with you. What would you? I mean, because it just seemed like she was just running away, but I could be completely wrong about that.
So with wrestling, I mean, with every sport, there's game plans. You make a game plan.
Yeah.
And you watch film, and she just had strategies, and everybody kind of wrestles differently. And I guess you watch other sports, and people are very offensive and defensive.
Okay.
And I guess she was just a very defensive wrestler.
Evidently, she was very defensive.
Yeah, she wasn't very hands-on. We took 9 shots to 0, and that is, honestly, our game plan was to do what we did, and we thought that the referees would have more. That's why freestyle was so good. You could never do what that girl did in freestyle. You can't run. You have to
No.
wrestle.
Freestyle is very go, 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 go.
They'll put you on the shot clock. They'll give you 30 seconds, and if that other person that don't score, like that girl wouldn't have scored, then they give a point to her.
So and I do want to play your match, so I don't want to run out of time, but how do you score a point? I understand pinning. I get that. And we'll get to that
So
in a minute, but how do
wrestling
you?
is a lot about control. So if I'm behind you and I have control of your hips, that's 2 points. And so if I'm on top of you and you get out and I lose control, well then you get a point. So everything is very much about control. And so if I'm on top and then you get on top of me and you have control of me, then you get 2 points.
Okay.
And so if I'm on top and I make your shoulders break 90. So 90-degree angle, if I make them break that, it's swipes. And then that's there's points.
Then okay. Mm-hmm. So how did you earn the 2 points and she earned the 1?
I ended up getting an escape, so she was on top of me and I got out, and then stalling.
What's that mean?
It means
She wouldn't wrestle.
yeah, she wouldn't wrestle me.
Well, that was obvious.
But she got a point because they were saying I wasn't wrestling her too. So
Yeah.
that's why I
That's
give a
why
point.
we said it was a little bit debatable on maybe the calls were not as we would have liked to seen them because we were shooting and doing everything it took to score, and she was doing nothing. But that's just the way it works sometimes.
Okay.
Different refs have very different. You'll have one ref that will hit her for stalling 900 times, but then you'll have refs that would hit me for stalling. So it's very.
It's an opinion, and sometimes
it's subjective.
Yes, opinions are. I mean, everyone has one, right?
Right.
I mean, and they're not all the same.
Yeah.
So, and I think that this isn't to sound negative or to say anything bad, but everyone wanted to see a close match, and they kept the match close. And I don't know that it was not at any point as close as maybe it appeared on the scoreboard,
Yes.
Okay.
and that's okay.
And a lot of people may think like, oh my goodness, she didn't pin her, like she didn't wrestle good. But like if you see the match and you understand wrestling and you understand the way I wrestle, like I don't think that I wrestled bad. Like I can go back and watch the match, and I don't think there's anything really that like I did bad that I would normally do. But like a lot, like with me, I'm very like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go as hard as I can for the whole 6 minutes. And a lot of people were saying like, oh, maybe I got gassed or I didn't have the energy. But like I will wrestle and wrestle and wrestle until that lasts.
Yeah, it's definitely not what the scoreboard showed.
Okay.
I was comfortable the whole time. I never felt like one time, oh, we might lose. That wasn't a thought process. So if you don't understand wrestling, you're probably like, oh, that was a really good match. It was really close. No, it was not.
I mean, that's kind of the way I took it, and I don't
That's
know
okay.
anything
Listen,
about
they had
it.
a game plan. They
But
did
I think it's because we're confident in her skills too.
they did what they wanted to do, and
that's
that
cool.
was listen. Everyone's got a game plan. That was theirs. We'll see her down the road. We'll have another game plan.
Yep.
But again, if the ref's opinion changes, it's not a match. But shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it is what it is.
Hey, here we are sitting here today talking to you
That's
as
all that
a
matters.
state champion.
That's
So
true.
let's throw that match, that state championship match. And again, this is video that was put on live by Kelly Roush, and we want to thank her so much for that. She went on Facebook Live and allowed us all to see it back home, which was great. But let's put that match up, and maybe could you talk us through what's happening?
Yeah, I can try my hardest.
Okay. It may be a little hard to see for us, but there you are, slapping yourself around. No.
This is the beginning of the match after I just came out the tunnel. And first thing I always did was I run up to Brandon, look at him in that red suit.
Yes.
Oh, yes. We've got to talk about the red suit. You can't miss that as you see him walking across the thing there.
And then so the match is about to begin, and I shake her hand. And right here is just the beginning of the match, and I kind of knew what to expect wrestling her because I have seen her before.
Have you wrestled that girl before?
I haven't this year, but I had last year.
Okay.
And so I kind of knew I had a game plan coming up to it, and I was just waiting for it to all be set because Brandon kind of Brandon is very good about that.
Of like knowing what she's going to do?
Yeah, he helped me a lot. We had a game plan here, so we were just kind of waiting for the pieces of the puzzle to align.
So you have to be patient there, right?
Yes and no. And so right here is right what I was waiting for. She stepped that foot, and I caught a head inside right here, and then I shelved it in the backside, and I drove up. If you can't really hear Brandon, but you can see him telling me what I should be doing.
So how much coaching do you have to do, Brandon?
No, it's not like that. I'll tell you in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay.
So then I got the 2 here, so I'm on top now. And I'm kind of just trying to see what I can set up here, what she's going to allow me to get. With wrestling, it's kind of like what she does is what I have to do to correspond to get what I want.
How do you know? Is it instinct?
It's kind of just natural at this point. Like, I've done it for so long, and I know what I like, and I know what I'm good at, and I know
Okay.
what I'm allowed to kind of work my body through. So I kind of just wait to see what she does to see what I'm going to do to correspond with it.
So at this point, are you thinking at this point or just doing?
I'm kind of just doing. I had my arm bar here, and I couldn't really get her. I couldn't get what I wanted in the first place, and so I was trying to get my arm bar with either a wrist or half, but it wasn't working very well here. So I kind of just keep trying. Where are we at?
I can't see it that
I
good.
can't either.
I know it's kind of hard to
She's
see.
on her back. It looks like we have a bar and a.
Is this where I tilted her?
No, we couldn't tilt her. I don't think we ended up turning her. Ran out of time there.
So now what happened there?
I got my tilt at I thought I had a tilt at first when I got my first wipes.
I don't know, but she's on her back too.
Yeah. So right there is I got 3 back points because she broke 90, and so the score right now is 5-0. They flipped the coin, and she got the coin landed on her, so she got choice and she picked neutral.
What's that mean?
We're on our feet again.
Oh, okay.
For the second period.
I see. Okay.
You got to take him down to score.
So there's different
Yes.
periods.
Yes,
too.
there's 3 periods.
Okay.
Right now it's beginning of the second period, and I'm winning 5-0.
Yeah.
So even if you hadn't gotten the pin,
And so then here she took a shot, and I kind of blocked it. And so then I get a go behind, and I get 2 points right there. And then I go right back for my arm bar here. And
At that point, this girl's thinking, I really don't like her very much. When do you like know? You're like, I've got this.
I mean, right here I had a. Did I have my boots in this?
Yeah, there's a boot in
I had a boot in, and I mean, I like boots a lot, but I'm not as good at them. So like, if I get a boot in, I don't think I'm most likely gonna pin you. I think I can get some back points, but most of the time I'm not getting a pin off boots, and it's kind of just like okay. And then right here, I relocked up my arm bar, and then right here I had a wrist, and then I switched it to a double, and right here is when I knew, like, okay, and then I start sitting through, and right here I'm trying to sit through. I'm trying to sit through to my butt and get my head up in the air, and right here I was like, okay, I'm done.
Which
I
is
have a smile on
where
my
you
face.
start smiling
Yep.
and
then that's when I
and
won.
the crowd goes wild.
Yes.
That is so awesome. Dude, your smiles are priceless. I have to say, I sent that picture to the girls from college. I was like, that smile on her face after she just won again.
I love the smile, but I'm not sure how much Brandon loves the smile.
I don't mind it. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
Oh,
so
come on. Give
it's
it
kinda
to her.
neutral. Yeah.
Give it to her.
I
She
just let it
deserves
go.
At the point when I know,
I think it's just being spunky.
Is that what it is?
I think
I think she deserves it.
it makes, so it's very, like, some people say it's very, like, arrogant of me to be smiling, but I think if I
Why?
want
You
to
just
pin
won.
someone, that I can, like, if I'm going through a hard match, you best believe after the match, if I win, I'm going to be smiling. So
You're allowed to be happy.
yeah, I
I
love
get it though. I get what you're saying, Coach,
But honestly, I love wrestling, and no matter what, like, most of the time I'm gonna have a smile on my face.
It's not a big deal. It's just that at this level, everyone wants to like pick you apart.
Yes.
And they want to be
Sure.
negative. Everyone wants to be negative in life, right?
There's
If
a
you're
lot
having
of
success,
cameras.
They want to be negative.
They're crabs in a bucket. They want to drag
Yeah.
you down.
So we try to just avoid those situations. Well, I try to avoid those situations. She winds them up more.
I
think it's awesome.
I
But then
love
they
the
like her when they
cameras.
talk to her.
I love the cameras on me when I'm wrestling, and like, there's a lot of people. Like, even at state, you can just see people coming over because honestly, everybody wants to see me lose. I've done so well for myself these past couple years that people are watching to see if I can lose.
Crabs in a bucket. They want to bring you down.
I can't blame them. I mean, I said it the same thing with Madeline
It makes it
Riddle.
fun.
Yeah.
Everyone goes to the state tournament. Madeline Riddle was the top 3 girl in the state all day long, any day. But she got upset, and that's what everyone comes for, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So if we get beaten, we get upset, and the place goes nuts. Like, that's what everyone's there for, and that's okay.
Makes it more fun because if I'm in the stands and there's an upset, I'm one of the people that are cheering.
That's
so,
it.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
it.
So I can't get mad. But so I have a lot of cameras on me when I'm wrestling, and I wrestle I'm not very nice when I'm wrestling. I do some things that I probably shouldn't do, but it's just my style of wrestling, and I love it. And there's a lot of wrestlers that are like that. So I get a lot of attention when I'm wrestling, and they're like, oh, she's dirty, she's mean. And then a lot of people will talk to me after, and they're like, oh, you're always smiling, like, you're laughing. Like,
Look
so
at her.
there's
She's
two-
an angel.
There's
Look at
two
this
very
face.
different sides of me.
Yeah.
And, like, when I'm wrestling, like, I have cornrows in my hair, and I'm always have dirty looks. But then, like, outside of wrestling, I have my makeup and hair done. So, like, there's two very different sides of me when I'm on and off the mat, which can be a very good and bad thing. So a lot of people see some things, and they can think some things, but then other people see other things. So.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you don't have to answer to anybody but yourself and probably your coach over there. And at the end of the day, if they really know you as a person, they know that you are pretty sweet.
Sometimes.
All right. Well, what does the future? We have about a minute left. What's the future hold for McKenna Craft?
Right now?
You're only a junior.
Yes.
So what are your plans?
I plan to wrestle in college and see where that road can take me and see what happens after that. I'm not really sure where yet. We're still figuring all those pieces out.
Okay. I'm sure you have some interest.
Yeah, we're going to look and see where exactly the road goes, but no for sure place yet.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, you have a good coach here looking out for you too.
That I do.
Yes, you do. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
And we're proud of Brandon, too, because I think a lot of folks, and I'm sure you would be the first to say that a lot of people don't realize the hard work that he puts in and,
Absolutely.
and what he does for these kids as well. And so thank you, Coach, for doing that. plus your other jobs
Yeah.
that you do.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's our pleasure. And I know she's super excited to go back to school. So we'll let you guys get out of here. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Congratulations, McKenna. We're so proud of you and Coach. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Bye-bye.